Let's talk about coaches. So, not mental performance coaches. I'm talking about athletic coaches. What's one thing that you wish more coaches knew and understood about athlete mental health?
I think mostly I wish that they knew the impact that they have. I think they maybe overestimate the thickness of athletes' skin in terms of like, oh, they know I care about them, so I can just, yell and scream at them and that's totally fine. But I think that if they really had an understanding of, athletes generally look up to their coaches, and so that adds an additional layer of power that they have, that coaches have. And so I think the impact that they can have on an athlete, if they just recognize that if I just care about this athlete as a person, that's going to change a lot of things, and including how I treat them, which then is connected to their mental health.
So, you would say that the one thing that you wish coaches knew about athletes' mental health is, I don't want to say how fragile it is, but how much the way that the coach interacts with the athlete impacts the athlete's mental health. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes coaches might think, well, they're a college athlete, or even if they're a high school athlete, they made the team, so don't they know that they're good? So that means I can tear them down. But I would say no, like athletes are people. So you got to treat them as people first. So, and knowing how much impact they have.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely understand the whole like coach athlete power dynamic, just like I do manager employee power dynamic. But to the point that you made earlier in the show, in very few other cases is it okay for somebody to scream at, berate, talk down to a subordinate, I guess, for lack of a better term. Like if your boss, the department chair or somebody was to speak to you or act in a way towards you, like you see some of these coaches like on national TV, they will like scream at their, this isn't even, and it's probably happening a lot more off camera that we don't see. We see it on TV. These coaches like treating their athletes negatively. Like if that were to happen, it's totally unacceptable in other veins of society, and yet it still is rampant, I guess I would say, in athletics. And I don't think these coaches really have an understanding as to the impact of how they treat these other people.
Yeah. I'll just say one more thing, kind of adding onto that, because when coaches kind of lose it on their athletes, they're demonstrating a lack of emotional regulation, emotional control, and yet they are demanding that of their athletes when they're on the floor. And so it makes it feel very hypocritical, in my view, that like if I'm a coach, I can just completely lose control of my emotions and yell at you until you're ripped to shreds, and that's okay for me but not for you. Like you need to stay on the court and you can't lose your mind. So
It's very, very much a double standard.
yeah.
I would agree with you for sure. Yeah.